and welcome everyone. We would love to have you introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're connecting from and one thing that excites you about this campaign. You can let us know in the chat box. Wonderful, and we are ready to begin today's session, so I will hand it over to Tessie Katsambas to welcome all of you and begin our session today. Over to you, Tessie.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome everyone to the MENA Regional Consultation for the Eval for Action campaign. I invite you all, as you've been doing, to write a quick hello in the chat if you have not done so already, and tell us where you're logging in from. I'm sure that you see many friends online, and if you are a newer member, welcome to you. You are part of a very welcoming and vibrant network of people who are committed to social change that includes all people and respects our home here on Earth. So to open our session today, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nuha Iter. She is the president of the MENA Network and also the president of the Palestinian Evaluation Association. And she's currently associate professor at the Palestine Technical University, Kodri. Dr. Nuha, the floor is yours.
تضم الشبكة 8 جمعيات تقييم في العالم العربي، المغرب وفلسطين ولبنان ومصر والجزائر، وهناك جمعيات جديدة ستظهر قريبا في الشبكة العربية في موريتانيا واليمن وسوريا ودول مجلس التعاون الخليجي. هدفها العام تقديم الدعم المنهج لاحتياجات التقييم التنموي في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا من خلال تكييف طرق التقييم المبتكرة والمستوحاة من التوجهات العالمية الحديثة في مجال التقييم. ونركز في الشبكة العربية للتقييم على بناء المحتوى المعرفي وتشكيل نظام للتقييم التنموي باللغة العربية. الشبكة العربية للتقييم في غاية السعادة كونها تستضيف الفعالية الاستشارية الإقليمية، وهي الحملة الثانية لعقد التقييم من أجل العمل والتنفيذ، التي تركز على تقييم فعال لتعجيل وتيرة تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة SDGs في المنطقة العربية. ونؤكد شراكتنا الحقيقية نحو الإجراءات العاجلة والواسعة النطاق لتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة خلال 10 سنوات القادمة. ونحن ملتزمون لحشد جهود أصحاب المصلحة لتعزيز قدرات التقييم اللازمة لتحقيق استراتيجيات التنمية الوطنية، لأننا نؤمن بأن أنظمة التقييم المتينة تسهم في تقديم تدخلات تنموية مستدامة وفي تحقيق نتائج عادلة تضمن عدم تأخر أحد من الركب. And on behalf of Eval MENA, I accept the Eval for Action torch. It sparks the fire of our regional constellation and furthers our connection with Asia Pacific and all regions participating in the Eval for Action campaign. Thank you for all. Welcome for all.
Thank you, Dr. Nuha. We will be having the pleasure to pass the torch in a minute, but just to continue the welcome from the region, I call to the floor Sausan Al-Zatari.
Thank you, Tessie. Thank you, Tessie. I would like to pick up from where my colleague Khalil Bitar, also EVA Youth MENA co-chair, left us off at the EPIA Regional Consultation with the notion of past, present, and future. We founded EVA Youth MENA in 2017 at the EVA MENA Annual Conference. We quickly began working with MENA youth and NDs on shaping the MENA evaluation field, growing in number and spirit. We aim to create an inclusive and equitable EVA Youth Regional Chapter that would support all MENAese in their evaluation journey. We are proud to say that we have learned many lessons along the way, realizing that there was a need for yees to learn more about evaluation. We switched from a task force system to capacity building through partnerships, as in the case of the Winter School for Yees in cooperation with UNFPA Astro. The Winter School proved to be a great success for all of us. We had the pleasure of Dr. Luay Shabane opening the Winter School with us and signing an agreement with EVA Youth MENA on behalf of UNFPA Astro. Today, we are here together at the launch of the EVA for Action campaign in the MENA region with our colleagues, partners, and friends from the region and all over the world. Many are youth, focusing on an important global agenda that we know would not be achieved if we do not work together. We at EVA Youth MENA do not take, if not now, then when, lightly. It is the force that drives our work and our vision in supporting MENAese through building strong national, regional, and global partnerships to achieve our objectives together. Serious partnerships with whom, as one, we sit at the same table. As for the future, we are proud and committed to being partners in EVA for Action campaign. We know that this is the first step in a long way ahead. However, we realize that this foundation is an opportunity to grow and flourish, not only as a chapter, but collectively as a global movement to achieve the SDGs by 2030, nationally, regionally, and globally. We are excited about the next steps and more to hear your views and the results of your discussions later today. These discussions are meaningful because they can shape the way forward for us and show how we can work together to create a better world for the next generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sausan and Dr. Nuha, for this very warm welcome and for helping us to begin our consultation session here at MENA. Thank you so much. So our next speaker needs no introduction, as we have all seen his passion in action. For many years, he has been mobilizing and supporting international advocacy for evaluation. And today he speaks representing one of the founding and coordinating partners of the Eval for Action campaign. I speak, of course, of Marco Segone. So Marco, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Tessie, and dear colleagues and dear friends, Assalamu alaikum. It's really a big pleasure for me to join you today, even if virtually. And I would like to ask the organizer to give me the authority to share my screen, or otherwise to put the PowerPoint on. Okay, thank you very much. Just a second. So in the next few minutes, I would like just to talk very briefly about why Evaluation for Action, what is it, and how to implement it. And just to say that Eval for Action is very much aligned to the Sustainable Development Goal. As all of you know, in 2015, 195 head of states, including all those from the MENA regions, met together at the UN General Assembly to commit to the Sustainable Development Goals that are the most ambitious roadmap towards a sustainable and equitable development. Mainly, it's really about transforming our world by 2030. Transforming our worlds to the worlds that we want. That is a world where all rights for all human beings everywhere at any time will be met, reaching the farthest behind first. And unfortunately, we're not yet on track. These are the projections just for two key indicators among many others. And as you can see, based on the current projection, the eradication of poverty will be reached by 2072. Gender equality will be reached by 2189. No one of us will be here at that time. And that was before the COVID, before 2020. As we know, COVID-19 is not only a public health crisis, but is also a socio-economic crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and a human development crisis. But 2020, unfortunately, is also highlighting the inequality within countries and among countries. And of course, climate crisis, the climate emergency is really showing its impact more and more on the life of everybody, but on the life of the most deprived even more. And therefore, it's very important to build back better, informed by evidence. And that's why a few months ago, Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, launched the Decade of Action. whose goal is to accelerate the implementation of the SDGs to get on track. And the Decade of Action is really about enhancing the ambition, the scale, and the speed for the implementation of the SDGs to achieve the sustainable agenda by 2030. And all of this has to be based and informed by evidence. Why? Because evidence in general and evaluation in particular tell us what works and what does not work, why, for whom, and under what circumstances. And as we know very well that COVID-19, inequalities, etc., they affect mainly the most disadvantaged, it's very important that our evaluation should be equity focused and gender responsive. And that's why the Decade of Evaluation for Action was launched. So the Decade of Evaluation of Action, or EVAL for Action, first of all, is aligned to the Decade of Action that I just mentioned that was launched by the UN Secretary General. It's a multi-sectoral advocacy campaign and really targets and tries to mobilize everybody on commitments to action to capacities. How? Well, that's done by engaging everyone, because EVAL for Action belongs to everyone. It's really a shared ownership. And so far, we have more than 90 partners across the world who already joined the campaign, plus almost 2,000 people, individual people, also joining the campaign. And therefore, the regional consultation today is very important because the entire idea of the consultation is really to build ownership of the campaign and to co-identify, meaning identifying together as a community the commitments that are the most important for the local context in the MENA region. With this, I would like to invite Khalil Bitar. All of you obviously know Khalil. He's the chair of the EVAL Youth Global Network. I know Khalil for quite a number of years now, and I have to say that I've been always impressed by his commitment, his passion, not only to evaluation, but also to social justice. And that's exactly what we need as the global evaluation community. We need ambassadors, we need people who is committed to evaluations to advance social justice. So Khalil, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Marco. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Middle East and North Africa Regional Consultation for the Decade of Action, Decade of Evaluation for Action campaign, EVAL for Action. It is a great pleasure to join the EVAL MENA network and EVAL Youth MENA chapter in this second consultation for the EVAL for Action campaign with global and regional leaders, as we see from the participant list, who we are very glad that they are joining us today. I want to particularly also welcome Dr. Luay Shabani, Director of UNFPA Arab State Regional Office, who is with us today. Dr. Luay is a champion and supporter of both youth empowerment and evaluation overall, and we'll be very happy to hear from him today. 1 month ago, we officially launched the campaign. Today, we are starting the second consultation on how to deliver not only in the global level, as the network was first organized, but also in the regional level with true local sense. We have many other activities as well with what, as Marco referenced, 90 partners and 2,000 individuals who are part of the campaign. The campaign is gaining much momentum because I believe we all are eager to contribute together to our societies in a significant way and change the normal way that things are progressing. We feel blessed to have such partnership that will enable us all to accomplish so much more together. We in EVAL Youth are grateful for UNFPA's shared passion for action. EVAL Youth and young and emerging evaluators in general found a true partner and advocate in UNFPA. In specific, I'd like to thank Marco Segone, Director of UNFPA Evaluation Office, who has been an outstanding champion of Eval Youth and young and emerging evaluators from day one, even before we started with the campaign, and particularly with young and emerging evaluators and in general in the Eval MENA, who, for example, attended both of the Eval MENA conferences for years now, since 2012. Young people are eager to make a difference and bring about change, but they often do not find the right partners or platform. We in Eval Youth found great partners in UNFPA and the Global Parliamentarians Forum for Evaluation, the other co-partner in the campaign. And in Eval Youth, we truly found an outstanding platform. We are impatient in Eval Youth, global networks, but also the regional chapters to make the SDGs come alive in our countries and regions. And we understand the crucial role of evaluation in achieving the global goals. Hence the whole campaign and what we are trying to do. The UN Secretary General's Decade of Action campaign inspires us. It motivated us indeed to put this Eval for Action campaign with UNFPA and the Global Parliamentarian Forum. A campaign, in a nutshell, that calls upon all actors everywhere to lead and to accelerate the delivery of the SDGs by advocating for stronger evaluation capacities and evidence policies, which many VOBEs and many evaluators are working hard on. Despite all the difficulties related to promoting the role of evaluation in the MENA region, and we all are aware of them, Eval for Action and the objectives and aims it aims to achieve has a great potential in the region, especially with the group of highly motivated young leaders who, one, want to bring about change, and two, they know how to work together, as we saw from previous events and many of the initiatives. I have no doubt this enthusiasm and cooperation will translate into action and achievement beyond this consultation for the MENA action plan. The first step toward achieving this goal is today, I believe, in the participatory process we are initiating and working together. I look forward to working with all of you on successful consultation and to hear your views on what we should do in the next 4, 5, even 10 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khalil. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marco. Your leadership, your inclusivity, and your hard work for the Eval for Action campaign is so much appreciated by all of us. Thank you. Just a pause to remind participants who are just joining to rename themselves and indicate if they have a strong preference for language, Arabic or French, for when we move to small groups. The instructions are just in the chat. So it is now my pleasure to present to you Dr. Luay Sabane. I had some words, but they were already taken by Sausan and Khalil, who are so excited that you are here, Dr. Sabane, to speak with us. And they are very excited because of your support for young and emerging evaluators. But I must also underscore your role in building government capacity through your contribution in statistics throughout your career. So just linking capacity and youth are just wonderful themes for us. So welcome, and you have the mic.
Thank you very much to all of you. And I'm really happy and encouraged to be taking part of this consultation. To start with, Khalil and Sausan and myself are coming from the same hometown. And Sausan is as the daughter of a friend. And at the professional level, I'm really happy that I have the chance to recognize these two young people, professionals, who are in the leading role. And I hope that with their support, the evaluation function become an integral part and organically part of the governance system in our region. This is where we can see our success. I would like also to thank Marco, my colleague, and he's a real champion globally. And since Marco joined us, he's full of energy, full of new ideas and initiatives. And also, I would like to pay a word for Adelakin, our regional advisor for evaluation and monitoring, who's a real champion who's trying to do always extra miles to show that the region is very well positioned on all fronts. I know that I have only 2 minutes, and I have only 3 points, which I would like to share with you, which I feel are important that we take it as we go in this consultation and beyond. The first one is we need to ensure that the support is enough available for countries to strengthen their national evaluation systems. Building national evaluation system should be an objective to us, because this is where we can ensure that democratic governance, public management is really well taken by this campaign. And if we manage to improve this, I think we will be moving half the way. The second one, it is important to create partnership globally and regionally at the country level, at the regional level, within the countries for the sustainable culture of evaluation by practice and use. We need to produce knowledge, we need to produce enthusiasm, and to empower the peer-to-peer learning, because this is where people can learn from each other. The third one, which for me is the most close to my heart and the most important, is the involvement of young people. Young people are the only organ in the whole structure who can lead us to a destination. Without involvement of young people, leadership of young people in this campaign or any other campaign, I would suspect that we will be able to reach the destination where we would like to be. At the personal level, I'm very committed to this campaign. At the regional office, as far as I'm heading this regional office in the Arab region, I will be a strong partner and advocate for the evaluation function, for the evaluation networks, because I'm a true believer that this function is extremely important, and creating this function into a platform where it becomes as an organic part, generic part of our day-to-day management for our public life, I think we can achieve the objective. I would like to thank you very much again for getting me into this consultation. I wish you all the best, and I will continue in the brainstorming, and I try to contribute as much as I can to this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Luai. With support like yours, with your passion and your commitment, we feel really strengthened for this campaign in the MENA region. It's wonderful to have partners like you. And now we have with us an ardent supporter of the use of evaluation to inform policymaking. I speak of Honorable Ibtisam Azawi, a member of the Moroccan Parliament and also member of the Foreign Affairs Committee since 2016. She was in fact nominated chapter chair for the MENA region for the International Parliamentarian Network, UNITE. It's very exciting to have you with us, Honorable Ibtisam, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Only 1 decade is left for more ambitious and stronger commitment to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. The decade of Eval for Action is now. Evaluation helps governments to hold a government accountable to citizens and stakeholders. Evaluation is a crucial ingredient for SDG success. As members of parliament, we have a major role to play to promote the culture of evaluation. The parliamentarian leadership is crucial to put evaluation at the heart of government policy and decision making, especially in these times of crisis, in these times of the COVID-19 crisis. SDGs are even more important. Agenda 2030 gives a comprehensive framework to address crisis and to build resilience to current and future shocks, whether they are related to health, to the economy, or to the environmental issues, etc. In many countries, many challenges are faced, such as data availability, capacity and technical knowledge, limits of resources and sometimes expertise, are the main challenges to monitoring and evaluation. Measurements, evaluation goes beyond measurements. Evaluation gives a clear idea whether progress is equitable, relevant, and sustainable. Evaluation is important to accelerate change and focusing attention on enhancing learning and innovation. Let us stay mobilized to honor our commitments at all political levels, international, national, and local, to leave no one behind. Thank you very much for inviting me to take part to this second regional consultation. And I hope that we can continue our commitment and realize all the required goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ibtisam. It's wonderful to have politicians, policymakers, people who are in the front lines support evaluation in the way that you do. We're very glad to have you with us. So it is now my pleasure to introduce Mohammed Kariuti, who is the IOCE MENA representative. That's the International Organization for Cooperation in Evaluation, and he serves on the board as vice president. He's also founding member and the immediate past president of the Jordanian Association for Development Evaluation, Eval Jordan, and he was the chairman of the Eval MENA network earlier on. So in his private life, he leads an NGO evaluation in an NGO, the ARK group. So Mohammed, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tessie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone. It's my pleasure to be with all friends and colleagues in this important event. So as our world battles the COVID-19 pandemic, this has, I think, shed the light about the importance of evidence-based and evidence decision-making and the decision-making process that is based on evidence. Because whether people think about this as a pandemic or a plandemic, they always look for evidences about how to go about this crisis. Yes, COVID-19 has affected 12 million people and killed more than 500,000. But hunger alone has more than 800 million people in its grip and is expected to increase by the end of this year by at least 100 million to 130 million. That said, this should force us to accelerate, all stakeholders, to accelerate the delivery of sustainable development goals. We need to advocate for stronger evaluation capacities among governments, parliamentarians, civil society, and also for VOPs to play a very important role in this so that we can adopt an evidence-based policies. Not only the adoption of those policies, but most importantly, putting those policies into practice. Because many countries, they do have like written policies, or they have written systems, but they are barely used. With all that in mind, we need to establish a commitment. That commitment should be established today and not tomorrow to accelerate the delivery of SDGs at the national, regional, and global level in the coming decade. A decade is not a very long time. So I think there are some points that we should focus on. Building capacities is a very important aspect to do that, to push forward the delivery of sustainable development goals. building strong evaluation capacities is very important among all stakeholders. This is very critical. And the quick identification of gaps in those the capacities and the shortcomings, so that we can act immediately and do course correction measures. In terms of evaluation systems, also strong evaluation systems will ensure the assessment of development interventions and assessing how effective, how efficient, how relevant those interventions in achieving the results, in achieving equitable results, of course, and most importantly, to leave no one behind. Also, promoting and advocating for a culture of evaluation at the national and regional level. This is a very important aspect, and I see that relies very much on the shoulders of VOPs. VOPs should work more on raising awareness and advocating for the culture of evaluation. Last but not least is the evaluation future. As Marco said, many of the targets of the SDGs will not be reached until a very long time to come. So we should invest in the future of evaluation. And from my point of view, that future is young and emerging evaluators. Many of us might not be here to assess whether we have achieved what we aimed for. To sum up, it is important to establish the commitment by different stakeholders, parliamentarians, governments, VOPs in our region, in the MENA region. This commitment is vital and cannot wait longer to be established, so that we have strong evaluation policies, strong evaluation systems, ensuring no one is left behind. Eval for Action comes to ring the bell, so that we are more committed to put urgent actions in the MENA regions in the next decade to deliver the SDGs in our region by 2030. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your plea for this importance of the NGO sector, the people who organize, the volunteers. It's great to hear from you. And many thanks to all our esteemed speakers for helping us to frame this very important day, our consultation for the MENA region for the Eval for Action campaign. And now it is my pleasure to call Marco Segone, Khalil Bitar, and Ana Erika Lareza to the floor for the passing of the Eval for Action torch. Marco.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tessie. And well, once again, dear friends and colleagues, you will recall in 2015, the Global Evaluation Community came together at the Parliament of Nepal to launch the first ever International Year of Evaluation. At that time, the evaluation torch traveled throughout the world in 92 different countries and events. And I'm glad on behalf of Kabir Hashim, who is the chair of the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation from Sri Lanka, and Khalil Bitar, today of passing the floor. Actually, we passed the evaluation torch after 5 years from the global level to the Asia Pacific. And therefore, I would like to give the floor to Ana Erika, the co-leader of Eval Youth Asia, to talk about the evaluation torch. Ana Erika.
Thank you so much, Marco. And since the passing, we had a very productive consultation in the Asia Pacific region. This initiated a regional plan to set up to the call for the action for the Eval for Action campaign. Now it is my honor to pass the Eval for Action torch to you, the MENA region. Nuha Iter, Sosan Alzatari. As I pass the Eval for Action torch to you, on behalf of the Asia Pacific Evaluation Association and Eval Youth Asia, we wish you excellent consultation for action in the MENA region.
Thank you, Ana Erika. On behalf of EVA Youth MENA, we are excited to be part of the movement for action towards the SDGs.
Congratulations to the MENA region. Congratulations. Thank you very much, everyone. And it's wonderful to be here right now with all the wonderful things that we have heard and the stimulating things we have heard from all our speakers, and the torch being firmly in the hands of EVAL MENA. So now it is time for us to have some discussions, to go into small groups and have some discussions for tangible actions. There are some questions in front of you, and the core question is what could be tangible actions for ensuring that evaluation significantly contributes to accelerating progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals in the MENA region, in light of all the issues in the region that you know. You are the people who know, who are in the best position to know. And then as you think about these ideas, some other stimulating questions are: what roles should different stakeholders play? The EVAL MENA network, the EVAL Youth MENA group, and then how can we maximize participation? So you will be placed into a small group who will have 2 facilitators who will guide the discussion. And our goal in these consultations are for you to share as much as possible your ideas. We invite you to bring forth bold ideas, because when we share bold ideas, we surprise ourselves about how we weave together a beautiful future, a beautiful plan. This was the experience we had in the Asia Pacific region, and we wish to have the voice of the EVAL MENA region contribute to this campaign in an exciting way. So you will be placed, when you are placed into groups, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to give us some instructions, but also let me say that we will also have note takers. So rest assured that everything that you say, all your contributions are going to be woven into the campaign, but we're going to hear some highlights when we come back. So Laura, over to you.
Thank you, Tessie. So in a moment, you'll be placed in a breakout room with 2 facilitators. One will be facilitating the conversation and the other will be taking notes, as Tessie mentioned. We'll be sending timing messages to you, so you'll have a sense of how much time you have remaining in your room. We have about 20 to 25 minutes planned for this breakout activity. When you are invited to join a breakout room, you'll need to click Join Now. You'll see a pop-up window appear and you'll just click Join Now to enter your breakout room. When you're in your breakout room, there will be a button on the bottom of the screen that says Ask for Help. So if you would like one of our producers to come in and provide support in any way, just click on that Ask for Help button and one of us will come in to provide support. So with that, we'll send you into your breakout rooms. We'll also be posting the question that we'd like you to focus on here in the chat. So you'll be able to reference that while you're in your breakout room, and your facilitator will also have those questions available to facilitate the discussion. So with that, we'll send you into your breakout rooms and we'll see you there shortly. Enjoy. Our breakout rooms are over and we are all back together in the main space. So welcome back, everyone. We hope you had a rich discussion in your breakouts and we're excited to hear what you came up with when we report out. I'll just remind everyone to please place yourself on mute as we hear from our colleagues, and I'll pass it over to Tessie to guide us in a debrief.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome back, everyone. And I know that you had some really intense and very exciting conversations. So I'm sorry that we cannot actually hear every conversation, but we can hear some of the highlights. So I would like to invite the facilitators of the different groups to tell us a little bit about what happened in your group. So let me start with group 1. I believe it's, well, let me just get help from Laura to make sure I know which group is first.
Hi, Tracy.
Yes.
Hello.
Room 1 was Ziad and Ruchira.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you, Ziad.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I must say there was great synergy and vibrant flow of ideas, and excellent follow through building up of ideas. And I'm just touching on the salient points. So it's indicative, not exhaustive, the ideas that we came up with. The first one is we talk about the importance of data, the quality and transparent data, and also how we can with this data, how we can make a significant how we can actually influence the policy makers to use evaluation results as much as possible. And the second one is another very important one. We have in our countries, we have a lot of prevailing issues, the pain points that the people are facing day to day, because ultimately by doing all of these with the success of the development process, we are making change in the lives of the people. So looking at just this push the public policy makers to look at the pain points of the people in different countries, and it can be the money related issues, or it can be agricultural issues, or whatever. So the push the public policy makers to make to take the prevailing issues into account. The second one. And the third one is actually we were asked to look at the regional role, and we just had the flip the coin to look at the other side. And we were actually thinking, we are thinking the WOPACE should take a leading role. So we talk about both managing for today and leading for tomorrow. And in that context, we thought that rather than regional the body can be an umbrella, but it's because we sometimes regional this setup might not have the leverage, the knowledge required, the country specific knowledge to leverage these activities. So it's more of asking and requesting the WOPACE to contribute more and look at the strategies, and then we actually harmonize as a region the strategies. So that those are three salient points, Tracy, and to everybody that came up in group one.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ruchira. So let me turn to group 2 with Abir, please. And Hanadi. Awad.
Yes, thank you, Tessie. I thought Hanadi will present, but if this is not the case, I can gladly do that. So in breakout room number 2, out of the discussion, we believe that the commitment from all the governments and the countries toward the evaluation on the national level needs to be improved to measure the SDGs progress, because this will ensure that evaluations are actually done in a systematic, comprehensive, and national level mechanisms. We thought that this can be done through national consultations, maybe conducting more training, capacity building opportunities to increase capacities and evaluation, and as well the awareness of the SDGs and their importance. We also believe that usually, which is the case in many countries, maybe the Prime Ministry or let's say the Ministry of Planning and Cooperation, international cooperation, they usually lead such efforts. But we also believe that engaging very important segments of stakeholders, which are the parliament and the parliamentarians, as well as the private sector, is very important in this process, because this will increase awareness of evaluation and build the capacity of evaluation as well. This also includes the VOPs, the National Evaluation Associations, which will be the network of professionals in evaluation and can also support this argument. And third, as we are talking about MENA and the MENA region, the discussion was about the Arabic language itself. And the colleagues said that sometimes it's not easy to use translation. And even though we have like glossaries of terms and terminologies used in evaluation, but sometimes the context itself within countries may not make this very easy and it could be challenging. So more focus on national evaluation policies and capacities, and specific in the Arabic language, can actually be something that we need to consider and work with within this evaluation campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abir. And very important points from room 2. So let's go to room 3. It's Ulubemiga and Udeshika.
All right. Good afternoon once again. So I'm going to come in for group 3. So we had a very robust discussion, and so I just want to say a few things from what we discussed. So we'll not say everything because of time. We were able to identify the highlights of the challenges we identified in the region as follows. We believe that one of the challenges we have in evaluation in this region is that there's a close niche of people who see evaluation as, their word, and we're not getting others involved as much as we can to ensure that the general public really understands the role that evaluation should play in the day-to-day life and even the way government runs our system. The other challenge that we also talked about is the availability of data, not just data, but data that is disaggregated in a way that can help us address specific needs in the context, especially on young people and women, and so on and so forth. The third challenge that we're able to identify is also the sensitivity around evaluation in the region. And of course, generally, many people mistake evaluation for audits. But we also know that in this region is probably much more accentuated because of the fact that anything that is negative can be misconstrued to mean something else. And there's this sensitivity around the politics of the region around, for unrest and all that stuff. So it's some of the aversion we might have towards evaluation is the fact that people are also worried that evaluation might portray governments in negative lights and stimulate some unwanted responses from the masses. Some of the things that we came up with in terms of the role of the Eval MENA network and Eval Youth to address some of these challenges is the fact that even though we know these networks have limited resources, they often rely on other partners to support the work they do. We believe the networks have a role in clarifying exactly what evaluation is to politicians, to civil society organizations, and even to the people, so that they don't misinterpret a negative evaluation finding to mean government is not doing what they're supposed to do, or this is now a reason for us to go for protests and riots. So we need to clarify that stuff, that evaluation is there to help governments to govern better, to help government to change course, to do the right things and to do the things that people need, not necessarily as a source of bashing governments or doing things that might disturb public peace. In terms of data, we also felt that the network can also be the ones to sensitize governments on the need to collect disaggregated data and do that in an ethical manner in order to address gaps that are in the system. Of course, we also discussed that in terms of why it is, like many of the presenters have said, young people are not only the future, but they are also the presence of how the SDGs is going to be able to be actualized. So we felt that the networks can further, the Eval Youth MENA does that very well already, but we also think that that can also come further to the forefront to ensure that young and emerging evaluators are part of every system that is there to support the evaluation function in our region, and to also serve as advocates to stimulate the need for evaluation within a national context. So on the last point, which is on how to maximize other stakeholders and partner involvement, we believe that the Eval networks can actually be the non-biased platform that can bring in different stakeholders together, civil societies, the private sectors, policymakers, and lawmakers, to see how they can all benefit from an evaluation function that is very effective and responsive to the needs of their people, the people that they serve. One of the other suggestions is that we should also devise a means to show how recommendations from previous evaluations have helped to improve systems, to help governance, and to improve the lives of people. Then that would make it easier for other stakeholders to even be willing to participate and support what we're doing. And then lastly, the last point is on South-South cooperation. We believe that we have some countries in the region that are doing excellently well. We saw the parliamentarian from Morocco. And we believe that if it's easier for the parliamentarian from Morocco to talk, for example, to the parliamentarian in Jordan about evaluation and the need to have a sustainable evaluation system. So we believe that cross-fertilization, even within the region, in terms of South-South cooperation, will go a long way in helping us address some of the challenges that we face as networks, as organizations, in terms of improving the evaluation functions and the national systems for evaluation in our countries and in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdelhakim. And let's make sure that we try to keep to about a minute so we can keep time, although these conversations are really, really fantastic. Great to hear from room 3. So let's go to room 4. Ali and Georgina.
Yes, Stacey. Okay, so in our discussion, first, thank you everyone who participated in the discussion. It was very nice. So the ideas that the participants shared with us, to look at gender, women participation that accelerate achieving the SDGs, to realize the power of evidence and the role of agencies in generating these evidence, and to focus on evidence-based evaluations. We also talked about the role of communities in evaluating the SDGs and the need to build their own capacities in order to be involved in the evaluation of the SDGs. We also talked about demand and supply, where demand is the supply is the capacities of the evaluator, and demand is the capacity of the policymaker to demand the evaluations. The necessity to strengthen local capacities, and the role of VOPs in moving from international to regional to national. Also to create a result-based culture in order to improve the quality of M&E. And to realize the critical role of evaluation, of monitoring, and not just evaluation, and to look at the dissemination of evaluation and to have results that they are accessible to everyone. And the last point is accountability is for everyone, everyone who will be involved in the evaluation of the SDG. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgina, and thank you for accelerating a little bit for us. We appreciate it, and thank you for all those wonderful points. Let's go to Rania and Mahar.
Thank you very much, Tessie. So being conscious of time, I will focus on the 3 main actions that we've discussed. A lot of good ideas were discussed during the discussion. So mainly, number 1, the first action that could take place is to empower a system where we can proactively conduct evaluations based on identified key priorities in the region, rather than conducting reactive evaluations. The second one is to build the capacities of evaluators in the region, not only in the evaluation itself, but also on how to have an evaluative thinking, how to look beyond numbers. And the last priority action is to also empower a participatory method, develop a platform with stakeholders in a way that they don't feel like it's a burden on them, but that it's also their responsibility. It also facilitates their work to contribute to the evaluation process. And that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahar. Thank you for all these really, really important points. Thank you. So let's go to Yusuf and Hayat.
Hayat, shall I talk?
Please, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of repetition between what have been said and we discussed, in fact, but I will be very brief. The first point is data availability and quality already mentioned. Involvement of all stakeholders. Here we are talking about community, about government, NGOs, civil society, parliament, etc. So all components of the community. And one very important recommendation to share evaluation reports and lessons learned where we have very practical and specific recommendations in evaluation report. And the last point is to spread evaluation culture and information about these goals in schools, universities, by having sometimes some degree, master degree, PhD, especially in the Middle East or the MENA region where we lack such things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yusuf, and thank you for connecting with what others said and being so crisp. So now we go to Zach and Tayo.
Yep, thank you very much. We actually had a number of actions. I just mentioned three for the sake of time. Number one is the need to improve the evaluation and making action plans available for the recommendations, because according to the participants, there are times that you have recommendations without action plans. The second is the need to create storylines for high-level decision makers to show them the success stories of evaluation, for them to have a case when they want to advance this course of evaluation. And the third part is mentoring, both peer-to-peer and intergenerational, ensuring that we share capacity with others. Then about the role of Eval Youth and Eval MENA, I'll mention just one of them, which is communication, which is to work together and coordinate the effort of everybody involved in evaluation. Eval MENA should know all the sectors and pull them together and get everyone involved and coordinate the efforts of the sectors. And about the role of sectors, most significantly, we have a number of them, but one thing that stands out is that the private sector is doing a lot, but they are not being appreciated, they are not being involved enough. So there's a need to involve the private sector in development and to be sure that everybody is on the same page. This is the summary from my group.
Thank you, Tayo. Really appreciate it. Let's now go to Michael and Sausan.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. So for us, the discussion was also quite similar. We focused on the knowledge and education on the role of evaluation. So we find that that is an important issue, and we should be updating and renewing the idea of evaluation regularly and reach out to the relevant stakeholders. And of course, the different networks are good platforms for that. So secondly, we think that we should not be fearing naming ineffective projects, and we should start working on them and developing them. So the evaluation process should be an honest process, and we fear that this is currently not necessarily the case, in particular also because the clients are not really keen on hearing about ineffective projects, even though there may be a smaller ratio of projects overall. So then the third idea would be to use national agendas and VNRs in order to feed into accountability and learning. So we think particular VNRs and also developing national agendas can help to streamline innovation in a way that accountability and learning falls into place. So that's in a nutshell what we discussed. It was a very lively and interesting group. So thanks to everybody.
Thank you, and thank you, Michael, for reporting. Let's now go to Kieron and Dulmina.
And we had a very productive discussion. So thank you all from Group 9, Breakout Room 9. So this is the first point we noticed, raising awareness. So most of the stakeholders do not know the proper tools to do, especially parliamentarians. So decision makers, as the decision makers, they need to go to base, and so for that they should be provided with proper tools. Because some of the parliamentarians are so eager to use these tools. So evaluation community should provide them proper tools. And the second point we notice is building bridge between academia and practitioners, because academia has scientifically proved knowledge, but they may be they may not be able to apply to all situations. So evaluators has knowledge on different kind of aspects, how these things are practical and things. So for evidence, for to evidence informed practice culture. So it's important to use these building between academia and practitioners. And the third point we noticed when go to the regional level, evaluate and evaluate MENA and also evaluate MENA, they are doing their job, but if they can they are already connected to so many global networks, so they can share success stories, especially with from the different countries, from different policies, organizations, and provide the regional level and national level participants with evidences to use in decision making and in their practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Dulmina. Thank you very much. And let us go to Sana and Fazila. If you are speaking, we cannot hear you. You need to unmute.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tessie. I said that we had a really very fruitful discussion, and we tried to classify the points into three main actions. In fact, the first one is related to the evaluation culture in the MENA region. It means that it's not enough to just produce evaluations, but rather we need more and effective use of that, because we think that the lessons are not learned, are not used enough as it should to be. And the second point is related to the capacity building in the MENA region. So we need trainings to be done using country-specific needs and scenarios, and this should help in developing the programs that fully meet the needs of the beneficiaries. Here, it means that we need more to enhance the leadership capacity, not only of individuals, but also of institutions and other evaluation stakeholders like program implementers, donors, funders, etc. And this capacity development should be adapted to consider the systemic, institutional, individual level and country context. The third one is related to the data, because we need more statistical agencies and effective use of data, and specifically how we will use this data to measure evidence. So it's crucial to strengthen the statistical capacity of evaluators. The last one is related to the evaluation ecosystem, because evaluation ecosystem is important because we need to consider this interconnectedness between the SDGs and not considering each goal as a separate component. So we are more toward this systemic approach, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sana. And thank you to all of our groups. Just you have given us so much to think about. Our mind is full, our heart is full, and there's a lot of discussion still to be had. So let me now call Marco Segone and Khalil Bitar to help close our session.
Well, thank you very much, Tessie. Perhaps, I mean, very, very rich discussion. Perhaps just three takeaway messages. The first one is really the needs to build bridges through partnership. Just a few years ago, it would have been impossible to imagine young evaluators to go together with parliamentarians and with the United Nations to come all of these three stakeholders together to launch a campaign like this one. So it's really a call for coming together, not only United Nations young evaluators and parliamentarians, but also academia, civil society organization, private sector, communities, and those left behind also. The second key message is that a campaign at global level is very good. A campaign at regional level is very good. But at the end of the day, actions will happen at national and subnational and community level. So it's really a call for trying to translate this global campaign to national level. But of course, Eval MENA and Eval MENA Youth will have a key role to play in coordination, in regional leadership, in South-South cooperation, etc. And the third key message is that at the end of the day, it goes down to personal commitment. You know, any intervention, any campaign, any action will succeed only if there will be passion and commitment by all of us, by people. Organizations, networks are done by people. So it's very important that we, each of us, commit professionally and personally to do something, to change, and to do something for a better world. With this, as I know that we are towards the closing of this wonderful consultation, I would like just to take 1 minute to thank a few people. First of all, thanks a lot, Tessie, Laura, and Encompass for the great facilitation. Just as a reminder, Encompass is a private company, and they agreed to facilitate this regional consultation free of charge. So really, thanks a lot for that. Second, thanks a lot to Eval MENA, led by Nuha, and Eval MENA Youth, led by Sausan, for organizing this consultation. That was great. And also to Luhai and Adela Kin from the UNFPA regional office for their commitments and engagements, not only for this consultation, but with the Eval MENA and the Eval MENA Youth chapter in general. And last but not least, of course, thanks a lot to all the facilitators and all the participants for the great discussions and the great and very rich inputs. And now we are just at the start. Now it's really about translating all of this to a concrete action plan that will then later on implemented. And just to say once again, to reiterate, UNFPA, and I feel that I can speak also for the other two co-leaders of the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation, and for sure Khalil will say the same in just a few seconds, also Eval Youth. These three networks and organizations will always be here to support Eval MENA and Eval MENA Youth in pushing forward the role of evaluation for accelerating the progress towards the world that we want. Thanks a lot, everybody, and Khalil, over to you.
Thank you so much, Marco, for all your leadership on this and facilitating everything as well. Similarly, I just want to highlight very quick points that main takeaways for me as I see it. I was fascinated by the similarities to the first consultations in APIA, at the same time, the differences that are related to the MENA context in the points that were mentioned. And I hope this is for all of us to take with us. For example, there's a lot of focus on policy and working with policymakers. We as evaluators, we know that we don't live on island and we can work together. I think the word evidence was mentioned more than any other words in your presentations, as well as evaluation and evaluative thinking and culture, which to me, I think it's very important that there is a great awareness among us that without building a culture and working with people and accountability, this would not happen. Very glad as well that young and emerging evaluators are essential to this effort and were mentioned, and the focus on capacity building for young evaluators, but also for evaluators in general and other stakeholders. We also have to disseminate what is evaluation, what we mean by evaluation to others. And this point raised by different groups about the communication and how important it is to do it in participatory way, but we have to go out there and talk to people about evaluation. It's also very important point from my perspective. So all in all, it's working together in the future. And let's see how we can translate those great ideas into actions. And finally, I also want to say great big thank you to Tessie, Laura, and all Encompass team. Marco has said already how they are volunteering, but really working so hard around the clock all the time for the smallest details. And this is why we have such a great event. I also want to thank Sausan, Dr. Nuha, and Abir. Sausan representing Eval Youth MENA, Dr. Nuha representing Eval MENA, and Abir representing Eval Jordan, which she also was part of the consultation. and also Asella as the coordinator of Eval Youth, Eval for Action, I mean, who was great. So as Marco has said, we are here to support. There are lots of things to do and to focus on. We have some priorities. We promise in the next stage, we will have hopefully this action plan from the Eval MENA team and Eval Youth MENA. I speak because I have a little bit of two hats and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalil, and thank you everyone for your participation. There are actually several regions who are in line for the next consultation. We want you to take a moment before or as you leave to post your comments, kind of assessing and giving us some feedback about this session. The question will be posted in the chat right there. It's what do you appreciate about this consultation? What do you hope for the future? What advice do you have for us? And with this, let me close our session and I wish you a good day.